Well, hey YouTube, P2 Finger here. I wanted to do a video on 18650 batteries. This is one of my tubs of 18650s. These are all good. These are all 2000 milliamp and above in this tub, which it's getting heavy. And then I've got some lesser ones in here. These I run in my flashlights. So, like this is a Cree lithium ion flashlight. It's a really bright does strobe. Anyway, yeah, this, unscrew it here, pop a lithium ion in here. They're great rechargeable battery flashlights. They're very bright. They're not like the sun, like, oh my god. But they're bright, and they only take a single battery. So this is a charger. I got 3 of these. They'll charge 4 at a time, and I was paying like $3 or $4 for that. I had a Nikkor IntelliCharger, an i2, and that broke. It fell apart. I don't recommend those. They're not a very good design. The snapback, the spring thing comes apart. On mine it did. After really not that many uses, I was. The thing is I've got a pair of these 26 650s, which are a lot larger, and they're more milliamps. These are 3500 milliamp. So today and that's one of the reasons why I need to get another charger, because this doesn't support that big fat battery. So I got something coming in the mail, a cheap one. Anyway, I don't recommend the Nikkor IntelliCharger. I recommend these cheap ones. Now, these are kind of dangerous. Okay, I wouldn't trust these. I sit next to it when I charge them, and I try not to leave them on overnight. The Nikkor IntelliCharger is really a nice circuit. So if you can get one of those and kind of baby it, or maybe find a design that's a little smarter where it doesn't have those sliding things. I don't know. Like here's a different design, but we're not. Yeah, see, it's got those sliding spring things, and mine fell apart on it. Mine broke, and so yeah. If you're gonna get into the 18650 game, you need a charger. If you're going to start recycling 18650s, like that's what this video is really. We're gonna open up a pack. What's nice is to get these are called wraps and insulators. So here's a wrap, and here's an insulator. This looks like a little donut of paper, and the insulator goes on the top to insulate the positive side, and then the wrap. You slide this on the battery and then hit it with a hairdryer or a heat gun, and that will heat shrink your battery. This one has been freshly rewrapped. You can see I draw on it. I'll draw a black line for the minus and then red. And then you can see there, that's the top side. That's where that insulator, that donut, goes up on the top. And that's because the whole chassis is the minus, and then there's a separate top part that's just the positive, and that's what that paper is for. So when you're popping it in and out of a device, if it's got a metal plate to pick up the positive, that donut insulates from connecting the ground to the hot and causing a short circuit and a fire. So those donuts are important. The wraps are important. Anytime the battery gets damaged or anything, you're supposed to replace the wrap. The wraps you can get you go on eBay and look for 18650 wrap, and you can get them for like a 50 pack for a couple of bucks. You can get a 100 pack for $5, maybe even less, maybe even $3.79 if you look and find a deal on them. And I love these batteries. I would not be like, I'm all about converting old NiCad stuff. If you have like an old drill that runs on NiCad batteries, if you could take that apart and put these things in there somehow, maybe put a charging board in there, and then have some type of voltage coming in, running through that charging board to charge those batteries, or even take it apart, pull the batteries out, and pop them in a charger. Like this here is it's a keyboard that I've been using for a long time. This keyboard, I find it easy to disassemble and clean. And whenever I see these at resale, I'll pick them up for $2. So I've got a few. I've got 3 of them right now. When this one dies, I'll continue using them. What I don't like about this keyboard is the batteries. It takes 2 AA's, AAA, alkaline. They would last 3 months or so. But it seems like just with the cheap dollar store AAA batteries, it seems like it's like about a month and a half, and I'm replacing batteries. And I just don't like that, constantly having to go up to the Dollar Tree and then throwing them in the garbage. I really don't like that. So what I did, I put a single chassis, or sled, they call it, single sled up here, and ran the wires inside to the connections. And it works fine. This works fine. So this is an 18650 battery that runs my keyboard now. They're like 3.5 volts, 4 volts when they're fully charged. Let's see what it is. And I have no idea how long I could run this keyboard on here. I would guess for a year. I would guess that it would be 1 year. What I do is it's 4.21 volts. So the stock keyboard voltage is going to be like, let's say it's 1.6 volts with a brand new, so that will be 3.2. So the difference between from 3.2 volts to 4.2, it's 1 volt. It's really not going to blow anything up in here. If anything, it's going to make it function a little better. It's going to give it a little more range in the wireless end of the deal. And that's just all theory. The main thing is it's one volt over is not really enough to fry it at that point. If it was a 16 volt device and I was going to goose it with 17, that might be a problem because capacitors are rated at 16 volts. These capacitors are probably 6 volt capacitors. Anyway, I'm going to pop the battery back in. Last night I put a little piece of tape on here and colored it red with a Sharpie. I like to use nail polish. I get some green nail polish and I get some red nail polish. I have a little bag with my nail polish in it, and I don't use it on my body. I use it on battery sleds. So whenever I build something and it runs off these batteries, I will mark that clearly with red and green, and that will reduce the chance that I'll put the battery in wrong, although it still will happen. So like with this, I put a diode on it. And that diode ensures that if I do put the battery in backwards, the diode is going to stop that current from hitting the board, the circuitry. And what you lose about a half a volt. And I was talking about that, a pair of AAA's is putting out 3.2 volts. This thing's putting out 4.2 volts. So putting the diode in there is going to whack about a half of a volt off of there. So that, does it matter? Not really, no. But this is what we're here to talk about today. This is something I picked up at the Goodwill. It's a battery Philips RBLI65. It says on the back here, rechargeable battery pack AY4384. Lithium ion, 7.4 volts, 7200 mAh. Ooh, look at that. So here's our information. This pops onto a DVD player that you would bring in your car. It has a little flip-up lid with a LCD display, and then the disc spins around. You would give this to your preteen or younger, 5-year-old kid would have his little DVD rig that if you were going to put him in the car, take him out shopping, take him to grandma's, whatever, he would have this portable DVD player. It'd be a great gift. And more often than not, people, they just don't charge these, or they'll use them and one of the batteries will get funky, or maybe the circuitry will fail, or the kid will outgrow it. Point is, you can find these types of packs at your local resale retailer often. more often than not, you'll find this is very popular. Okay, but also laptop power packs. Last night, we recycled my wife's old laptop that we had gotten. It was gifted to me because I put a letter in on FreeCycle asking people to donate old electronics. So we had 2 people take me up on it, and one woman came here and was just unloading her car. And then she was like, "What about a laptop?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll take your laptop." And of course, it was virused. So we did a factory restore on it, and my wife used that laptop for
5 years.
5 years for her daily driver. And
Just about, it'll be 5 years.
yeah, anyway, it crapped out, and the battery pack was sitting here. So basically, what you do is you'll use a razor nut. You put some leather gloves on, and you get like a box cutter or a heavy-duty carpet knife, and you can run that along the seams, and you end up getting a large. See, this is really bad example. A bulky regular screwdriver, and pry it open. This here, and what you'll find in there is these lithium-ion batteries. Okay, so these, Walmart. I think the price that I saw at Walmart was $16 for one. You can get them for $5. It all depends on what type of battery and how many mAh they are, all kinds of different things. There's all kinds of different varieties of them. I don't like buying them new. I like recycling them. So that's what we're here to talk about. I know it's already at 11 minutes. This is just a general primer to explain to you the concept behind using lithium-ion batteries. You need to get a charger, something like this. They take a while to charge, but they hold a lot. They hold a lot. So for something like this had little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little tiny fasteners. They look like they were Allen heads. I've got metric and English Allen head sets, and none of them seem to work in here. So I flexed it until it got enough of a lip to get in there with a pry screwdriver and pried it open. Snap, snap. And then my wife stopped me and said, "Hey, weren't you gonna do that on video?" So here, pop, pop, pop. And this is the goodies. This is the good stuff. Hey, hon, would you mind disposing of that for me? And I need a needle nose pliers. So here's what you'll find. They're wired together and onto this board. And I really have no need for this charging board right now. I'm not interested in reusing the charging board. If I had the use for a charging board, I would probably order it from eBay or maybe recycle it. But you go ahead and remove that board. I'm going to throw this one out. I don't need it. So there's that. Thank you, honey. And then what you have is it's connected by these metal strips that are press fit onto the battery. And how I do it is, well, to begin with, I'm going to cut. Okay, so we have these wires. Here, there's a piece of tape connecting these 2 batteries. So what I do, I grab this metal tape, this stuff here, and I will carefully grab it with my needle nose, and then I will roll it, and it will rip. It will disconnect itself from the pressure of my needle nose rolling it back. So there's this harness just came off. So this process here is kind of fiddly. It's removing all of these metal tape strips, and this is where you really want to wear gloves. This stuff is razor sharp, so taking your time, not rushing. You peel them off, and what you'll find is there'll be little bit of remnant there. There's a couple of stickers. I'll actually save those. I'll put those in my little baggie of 18650 swag. Okay, so now here we have the top of these two has been done. There's a piece of tape holding them together. Remove that tape. Then we have on the bottom, these four are held together by another strip of that metal tape. So I'm going to go ahead and put my needle nose on here and roll. Just broke it off of one battery. Roll, just broke it off of two. Here's another double donut. Okay. And now what you see here is there will be a little bit of remnant there that's sharp. And what you can do is you can get in here if you've got a really good needle nose and try to pull those off. I don't know if you can see that. Those two little guys there, and those two little demons, and those, boy, they are sharp. I'm going to actually use my side cutter and try to snip these off. And a good thing to do, hey darling, would you bring me that file that we were using yesterday? I'll run them across a file. And anytime when you're doing this, if you damage any of the wrap, you're going to go ahead and replace that wrap, because I've got extra wraps here. And when you get in here, like this says LGDA 2E 18650. So here, I'm going to give you that. You go ahead and read me those letters. Here, there's some more of those demons. And while I'm on camera here, I know this is a super long video. We're going to look that up. LGDE.
No, LGDA.
LGDA.
2E.
2E.
18650.
18650. Okay. 2250 mAh, which is good. So these are going to end up being labeled 2250. And like I said, I've got here, there's some demons, sharp little bastards on the end of this battery left over from the strips of tin that they use instead of wire to connect this stuff. So I'm just lightly grinding that flat, excuse me, with this nice file here. And the ones that we use in the flashlight, like I put a tape wrap around the positive side that comes up, a masking tape that comes up, so I can pull that out when it's in the holder. Because I have a hard time grabbing these and pulling them out. Sometimes I need something to pry it out. And I thought, if I had a little tape wrap like a tab that I could pull that with and just rip that positive, rip it right out of there. So all my batteries that are above 2000 milliamp that I use in amp projects or to power pedals, that these batteries go in sleds, they'll have those tabs. I'll show you. This is what I'm talking about. This little tab here that I made, the sole purpose is for pulling it out. Just rip the battery out of the holder. And then these go in flashlights. These are lower milliamps, and I don't put tape tabs on there because it's going into a tube. So here's what we do. We go through this process of pulling these this one's being a little shit. And you don't want to short anything. Okay, so another little double donut. We'll keep those along with my stuff. In a pinch, I could use that as an insulator because it's about the right size. It's actually just a little larger. And like I said, the batteries that we use in the flashlights,
I don't have time.
those I've actually soldered on the ends. I found that they were getting glitchy. They were like the flashlight wasn't making good connection. I don't know what that was. If it was the flashlight, the spring, or the spring inside of it, or on the other side, there's a little aluminum nut that comes, a little brass nut or something that sticks out that's supposed to make contact. I put solder everywhere. I put solder on the one end of the thing that screws, and then on the other end of the spring, I soldered on the spring. And then we soldered on the positive side and on the ground side. And that way, and I filed them after I soldered them, made it real nice, just a tiny layer of solder, and then we reapplied the see there, I just ripped it right off. We reapplied the wrap on it. So I'm down to, I've got about 10 wraps left, and I just ordered myself like, I think we got 50 coming, and it was, I don't know, I got a deal on them. It's if you keep looking and looking and looking on eBay, you can always find a better deal, it seems. And that was what I did. So here, going through this stuff, I've got some of these that still need a little bit of cleaning up. How many have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of this pack, we got 6 18650 cells. And what did I do with my, oh, here it is. And they're 2250 mAh. So what will end up happening with this next is popping them in the charger. And typically you'll find one of them won't want to take a charge. And what'll happen is it'll either it'll come off like when you put it in the charger shuts itself off. Where the charger is supposed to either show red that it's charging or green that it's fully charged, this thing's like, I ain't gonna play. And at that point, what I do is I will put it in I have this single charger here. And that one, I found that if I have a battery that's misbehaving like that, and I pop it in this charger, it's a single charger, and I will have the power on the charger, and I'll pop it in so it makes a connection, and the light will go black. And then I'll pull the battery back so the positive side is not making contact, and the light will come back on, the green light will come back on, and then I'll let it go, and it'll make connection, and it will maybe turn black again. So you keep doing that. You keep touching it and letting the charger read and shutting itself off. And after doing that anywhere between 5 and 100 times, all of a sudden the LED will start dimly glowing red, then a little bit stronger red, and you're popping it on, it's shutting off, pulling it back, breaking connection, popping it on, it'll shut off. And then eventually it'll start, instead of shutting off, it'll turn just a little bit red, and then a little more red, and then once it's red, it's charging. So you can kind of bring them back to life. And I've done that and had those batteries last really long time. So there is that way of bringing them back to life. It just depends on the functionality of your charger. Do you know what happened to that one, honey? The charger that we used to bring them back from the
I
dead.
think it's in the kitchen.
Would you mind getting that for me? Now the Nicore IntelliCharger, that one when you install the battery, it goes through this thing where it's just blinking for a while and it's like testing the battery to make sure that the battery is okay. And then if the battery is okay or whatever, like I really don't understand what's going on with that circuit, what it's actually doing, but
It's not where you left it yesterday, so I don't know where it is. It's just one, right?
yeah, it's a single.
Yeah, it was there last night, but you probably took it.
So, like I said, the Nicore IntelliCharger, that one, it seemed to finish charging these batteries a little before this really cheap bulk charger, the four charger, the one that I was showing in the beginning when I said I paid $4 or $5 for. That charger, the Nicore IntelliCharger will be like, okay, that battery's done charging, and then you can plop it in one of these. And this will charge it more. So these are a little bit, they charge a little hot. So you gotta just kind of learn about this stuff. This is a super cheap charger. This one the spring clip broke on. This is the cheapest charger that they make. And I soldered these clips on here. Now this one actually does that trick where if you pop it on and pop it off, you can nurse a battery back to life with one of these, I think, because I did this trick before I got that charger that we're talking about that we can't find. The one that we can't find, it's got a little plastic bay with a spring and you pop it in there. It's not the sliding thing. I don't like that sliding design. So at this point, we've removed all 6 batteries. All of them have the metal tabs ripped off. So we're going to go ahead and see what we got by plugging them in to this charger. Now, as I'm adding them in the charger, there is no LED coming on, and if they do have a charge, they will light the LEDs in the charger. So let me plug this in, and there you go. We've got 4 batteries that. What I'm going to do here is unplug this. Now they change color to green. So that's 4, and then we'll put these 2 in. You can see it's not lit up at all. After these take a little charge, oh, they lit up. We don't have to jig and keep hitting it. All 6 of these are going to be good. So now I'm going to unplug it, and you'll see the light's going to change color, but it's going to stay on, and that means that they're taking a charge, because I'm going to unplug it, and these batteries are going to power the LED. So yeah, all 4 of these LEDs are on right now, and if I remove the last, see that? So yeah, we got 2 red LEDs and 2 greens in the middle. And what I'm going to do, there's 6 batteries. I'm going to put 3 in here. Here's one that was laying there. Yeah. And you see how I just shut that light off and turned it on? Sometimes when you pop these batteries into the charger, they will give you a green light like they're done charging, even though they're not. And you need to power cycle the charger, and then it'll change colors. So here we go. We've got one green light over here. Got a green light because there's no battery in it. The other 3 are red. So as you can see, I mean, it took me, it takes about 10 minutes to take the thing apart and peel all those off of there. And then you've got those little sharp demons. You got to deal with those. Sometimes when you when you're filing those demons off of there, you'll scuff or you'll cut or you'll wreck the wrap. So it's nice to if you're going to get into this game, what you need to get. Order yourself 50 or 100 wraps. The insulators, those little plastic donuts, you can kind of get by without buying those. I've seen deal packages where you can get the insulators with the wraps. So that might be one way to do it. I found that doing this, you are going to lose some cells from here to there, and you're going to get some bad ones. So when you get that dud cell, don't throw it away. Cut the wrap off of it, and then you use a X-Acto and real carefully stick it underneath the donut, the little sticker donut, the insulator, and you don't want to push that blade in to where it's going to make contact with the center, the hot side. Even if it's a dead battery. I mean, I suppose if it's dead, yeah, is it going to matter that you're hard shorting it? No. But it's just a good idea to avoid doing that. Anyway, yeah, that's what you do. You remove that donut, put it in your bag with your... So here's my bag with my wraps in it. And then today we picked up these... kind of a few of these guys. They're doubles. They look like an 8 or an infinity sign. So I'm going to put these little insulators in with my bag of stuff, my 18650 magic bag. And I like to have storage for these batteries just to make sure that they don't really have any ways or means of shorting out on anything. You got to be careful with this stuff. Again, you really should kind of babysit them when you're charging it. I wouldn't recommend charging these unattended. There's all kinds of safety rules. I'm sure if a safety expert saw me here, would you? Well, there's another handful. We just dropped the demon.
Are these good?
No, these are all garbage, honey. That's all the demons. I'm sure if a safety expert were to see this video, they would probably point out hundreds of things that I've done incorrectly. But that's how I harvest lithium-ion batteries. Apologize for the length of this video. Wear gloves. When you're tearing the thing apart, when that screwdriver takes off on you, and it will, if that thing cuts across one of your knuckles, you're going to regret it. So you're going to want to wear gloves when you're doing that. And then when you get in and you're peeling that tape, the metal tape that's connecting the batteries, that stuff is razor sharp. And every time I do this, the day after, I'll be like, oh, what is that? And there's all razor cuts all over my fingers. But I didn't notice that I got. So I really should have properly gloved up before this. And you say, oh, well, why would you want to play around with 18650 batteries? Well, I'll tell you why. You get a 2 sled, and you run one wire across at an angle, and then there's a hot side and a negative side. or like let's say they're here next to each other, and you flip flop. You have the positive down here and the positive up here. You just run a wire across here, and then at the top you'll have a plus and a minus, and you connect a 2.1 mil DC plug. That's it. That'll run your pedals. So the 3-packs and the 4-packs, like what I'll do, I'll wire up a 3-pack and another 3-pack and connect those in series to get 24 volts. And then I'll do the same thing and run those in parallel to double the milliamperage. And that will power a TPA 3116D2 mono 100 watt Class D amp board for like 12 hours through a 12-inch guitar speaker. So that's why it's cool playing around with these things. You can build amps with them. Like right now, I'm building an amp that's got that same setup in it with a Marshall Super Bass preamp that's going to run off another separate 3-pack, which will be 12.5 volts running the preamp. That preamp is actually designed to run off 9.6 volts or 9 volts, I think. So what I'll do is there's a part called a 7809 voltage regulator, okay, and that's got 3 legs. It's basically ground in the middle, power comes in, power comes out. So I'll send 12 volts to it, and what's going to come out is 9. And there's a couple capacitors, one on each side of there that you hook up. So yeah, basically there's going to be a large capacitor on the power amp part, the 24 volts. So I'm going to use a double switch. So when you throw the switch, it's going to turn on 24 volts to go to the power amp. And then a 12 volt circuit is going to fire up that hits a 7809 voltage regulator, dropping it down to 9, which will power the Marshall Super Bass preamp, and then a spring reverb driver circuit. So this amp will be like a Marshall Super Bass preamp, bass mid-range treble, 2 channels, a bass channel and a treble channel with a switch, separate gain controls for each channel, master 3-band EQ and volume control, and then there'll be volume, blend, and tone controls for the spring reverb tank. So that's why I'm collecting these things, is to make these amps that run off batteries, to replace, like I did with this keyboard. I showed you how I don't have to buy AAA batteries anymore. So it may not make sense to you. You might be like, this guy's, what is he doing? But there's people that are like running their homes off of this stuff. These are 18650 batteries are what's in a Tesla. So there's people that they're building their own power banks where they have solar cells that charge these batteries. So I'm not the only one doing this stuff, and I don't even really like the idea of giving the information out. I kind of want this to be my secret. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's how I do it. I'm sure it's wrong and it's all unsafe and everything. But you know what? How long have we been playing around with these? 5 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and never had a problem. I fuse everything. We never had one go critical on me, and I don't charge them unattended. So, all right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace. See you around and be safe.